Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Two's Company. We have with us Vishal Khalid, the singer songwriter of the band Tarboos, which she has co created with her husband, Daniel Shahid. Vishal has been teaching as a full time educator for 9 years, and recently she has joined as an art facilitator for Veritas Learning Circle. She's also working at her latest album, Aman Kiyasha, which she's mixing and producing at the moment. So, Vishal, so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Fatma. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah, we Vishal and I go back a long way, and we were MPhil students together for English literature, and we will discuss some of those memories as well. So Vishal, I'd like to start with your band, Tarboos. That's an interesting name. It's kind of cool, funky, quirky. Where did the name come from, and what's the idea behind it?
Okay. Well, it's not like we sat down and really thought hard about what our band should be called. It was more of a spur of the moment decision, and it involved a lot of synchronicity. I believe a lot in things happening a certain way and sort of leading to chances and then creating different possibilities and then, different.
Chance encounters.
Right. And the day that we were thinking of what to name our band, I was wearing a shirt that had a watermelon on it.
Ah,
And I wouldn't say that that's meaningless. I think that it became more meaningful as time went on, the name for us. And yeah, I just think it's fun and it's cool. And
it is.
I like
Definitely.
wearing Tarboos jewelry now.
Sounds nice. I met you in MPhil. We were doing literature, so I know you have a background in literature. Does this inform your music in any way? I do have a song in mind that you have worked on, which was influenced by a poem. I want to talk about that because Stop All the Clocks is one of my favorite poems as well. And उसकी बड़ी एक मज़े की Four Weddings and a Funeral में उसकी बड़े मज़े की एक recitation भी है, and I've always loved it. So when I was looking this up and I saw वो सारी घड़ियाँ रोक दो, and I was like, this is interesting. So tell me about this. How did this happen? And also generally the influence of literature in your work.
Okay, I'll start with the general influence. So, when it comes to how literature informs my songwriting, I think that's a deep connection for sure because I started off writing poetry. And that was my first mode of expression. And when I started doing music and when I learned an instrument, that poetry somehow became songwriting. It was an evolution of poetry. But also, I feel that when you have studied literature formally, like we have, it also gives you, I think, a grounding in. So let's say you've been creative, you've written something. It gives you an idea whether it's good enough to go forth or worthy enough to be refined and produced and made into a song, or is it just a song, an art piece that one person made? Like what makes one song worth refining and releasing and another song just for myself? So it gave me that grounding to know what to put forth as my work into the world. As for Stop All the Clocks, I think that was more of a creative experiment that I was doing that day. So there have been times where there's a writer's block, or you sit with a guitar or with a pen in your hand if you're a poet, and you want to write something, but nothing's really sparking that. And I think for me, good art and good poetry and good expression is that which inspires me. So on that day, I made that conscious choice to look up some of my favorite poets and see if something would spark my creativity.
Right.
And that's how this particular song Sari Ghadiyan came about.
इसकी वीडियो भी बहुत मज़े की है with you and Daniel on the beach, right? And the clock and tell us a little bit about how that was making that video and
To be very honest about my process of making that particular video, there has been another one which was very well thought out and the story came first. In this one, our goal was to play with the idea of time, going backwards, going forwards,
sure.
doubling up, speeding up, slowing down. And the idea was really that there is a disconnection between two people. And in the video, you can see a man and a woman. That's me and Daniel. But it was also more so an internal disconnection because the lyrics are very close to my heart and they go like, the idea is exactly like Auden's idea that, when you lose someone, then nothing really is as beautiful anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like that also about my own creativity and where it comes from. The part of me that that is the creative part. I don't carry it around with me everywhere. I don't wear it on my face. It's a deeper part of me. It's a more sensitive part of me. And I think every artist experiences that, the journey. You don't always stay connected to that part. It's
Sure.
a turbulent relationship.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, I know.
So I feel that's what that's what the feeling was. And we tried to capture that on film.
I think you guys did a really good job. It was very interesting. And I mean, I'd heard the song before. And जब मैं उसके बाद वो देख रही थी तो फिर I saw somewhere कि it's inspired. I don't know, I read somewhere. So it was like a click. It was because the poem is a favorite of mine as well. So, Vishal, when did you realize the call to music, to singing? How, where, when? How did it all come about?
It's a very personal and deep question to me. Because music means everything to me right now. It means everything to me.
Yeah.
And it has become more and more meaningful as time went on. Initially, I can't say that I started off knowing, okay, this is my calling and this is what I want to do. It started off as just a fun thing to unwind after my 9 to 5 job that I was doing at the time. This is 2019. This is also when I had met Daniel and, we were dating. And he was a lot into music. I was always also into music in the way that I've seen videos of myself as a baby and I'm dancing and I'm singing and I'm, it's in you.
Yeah.
But to formalize it into playing an instrument and songwriting, I think Daniel had a huge part in encouraging me to do that. But then also, when I played it, I felt actually like something lightened. It started from there. Ke bas kuch bhari hai after work, 9 to 5 is kind of trash. Not kind of trash, pretty trash.
Pretty trash.
Fully trash.
Fully trash. Second that.
And after coming home, like I needed to unwind and I would take my little tiny ukulele and I would take it to the roof, and do some substances and sing to myself. And that would really relax me and make me feel good. And at that point, I was just doing covers and there was not a thought in my mind कि मैं कभी लिख भी सकती हूँ गाने. That wasn't an intention at all. And it was suggested to me कि oh, you write poetry and you do music. Why don't you just write a song? And I was like, तो हो ही नहीं सकता. मैं कैसे कर सकती हूँ ये? Like, but then I got married and also COVID happened. So that was a long time that I had with myself. I think a lot of people can say the same, that it gave them time to be with themselves. And that's when just one day sitting by myself, a song naturally arose. And It was a very light song, a sweet song. It's part of my first EP also.
Which one is that?
It's Titliyan.
Titliya. Okay.
And it just came around and very sweet sa, cute sa song tha. And I was happy with it. But then again, I was like, yeah, I'm writing songs, okay. But even then, I wasn't feeling as deeply about music as I do now. Because over the years, as I've gotten to know myself deeper and I have engaged in a lot of healing work through analysis, psychotherapy and analysis, it has become the sole way for me to contain my emotions because I have a lot of them.
Yes.
And they can manifest they used to manifest in very destructive ways before. And I think during the past few years, if I didn't have music, the kind of intense stuff that I went through in my healing journey, I don't think it would have been possible for me to survive if it wasn't for music.
Oh, that's powerful. Yeah. You spoke about childhood and you remember singing. Do you remember any song, any particular song from your childhood that you used to sing or a favorite or that?
I am told that I really loved Rickshe Wale.
Acha.
Oh, Rickshe Wale, Zara Dheere Chala. I haven't heard it in years and years, but I used to love that song. मेरे घर में हमेशा गाने चल रहे होते थे. So my pupos loved music, my parents loved music, Bollywood songs from the 90s, Rafi, Jagjit Singh, all of these, I grew up listening to all of them, Abrarul Haq, Hadika. So all of this was playing in my house constantly anyway. And yeah, it informed how.
So it was around you, and then yet it took this moment when Titliya came. It was it came later.
For sure, for sure. I think all through that time, the seed was there, and the hints are there. The foreshadowing is there, and also you're all absorbing so much. Until I wrote my first song, I was absorbing all those life experiences that led to that first song. I think.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Creativity. You've spoken about your process and creativity, but I want to know a little bit more. How do you access this creative space? Like you said, it's a deeper part, and you don't carry it everywhere all the time, but it is a deeper part. You connect with it. Is there something you do? Is there a space you go to? Is there like an altar you keep? Is there a specific what's your way to access this creativity?
That is an interesting question. Yes, I do have an altar. But the way that I try to access it is by, I think, being with myself in a quiet space with the instrument. And I do have a method actually. I call it the 2-chord method. I oftentimes it doesn't work out because, as we spoke earlier, it's not always available, right? The turbulent relationship and also just naturally it comes and goes. So when it is available, I feel like my hands just gravitate towards a chord or two, and I keep playing them. I don't mess around with too many chords because, like I said, I'm not very. I started very late on the instrument, but I think it's good enough to have 2 chords, and it sort of sparks a melody. I can't explain where the melody comes from. It's very hard to explain because I'm not making it consciously. It's arising. And I think it's a combination of listening deeply and channeling truthfully. And sometimes it comes with words. So, there have been times when the feelings are so intense that it doesn't feel like it's my voice anymore. It feels like it's a deeper voice that's coming from the collective underground, whatever you call it. Let's call it the collective unconscious. I like Jung.
Yes.
That's where it feels like it's coming from. It feels like it's bigger than me.
We met, like last I met you was like 2-3 years ago, and it's It's really interesting, and I am enjoying hearing you speak that your relationship to music has even become more deep, because even at that time you were like, I know it, मुझे यही करना है, and you were so clear. I mean, many of us are confused. We don't know अभी क्या चल रहा है, कैसे करना है, and you just knew it कि भाई यही है और यही करना है, and you were so clear about it. And 3 years later, you're saying that it's even gone deeper. So that must be almost a mystical state. I You work with your husband, and this is interesting to me, and I'm curious about it. Working with your partner, it could have its own set of issues or creativity or romance. What is the work spirit like?
That's an interesting question. I like being asked that. I think two things. Two things. We love creating together. When we're both jamming together, and I'm on an instrument and he's on an instrument, and we're creating something, it connects us so beautifully. We feel so close. It feels like this is another plane on which we are also connecting. Another dimension of our connection. It's beautiful. It connects us in all the other areas of our life more deeply. So I love having that with him. That's the beautiful part. The difficult part is doing the production work together, because that involves all the decision making,
Right.
all the I like this, I don't like that. Both of our creative egos are clashing. It
Yeah.
used to be worse. Now it's better. And even now, like this happens all the time. Like when I say, wait a second, can you go back and can you see like this thing you added? Can you do this way? And then he's just like poker faced doing that, and then he later tells me, oh, that hurt me a little bit. But I think our communication needs to be really, really clear when we're doing it. We work to get here. For sure, there have been fights about it. But now I think we are at that level where we can say, hey, I'm sensitive about this. So this is how I would prefer you communicate something or something else. And also realize that we are two different people with two different visions and two different creative visions, outlooks, right?
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So we do try to, eventually we do come to a decision, but we give each other that grace to have your own perspective.
Yeah. That's very interesting and inspiring as well, with the whole connection, the strong connection that you guys have when you're jamming together. That makes a very interesting visual as well to imagine it. It makes me think of this song of yours as well, Dost. And it has like these simple but such truthful lyrics. कि मेरे अगर दो हों दोस्त, मेरा हो जाए गुजारा, सुन ले मेरे दिल की कहानी और कहे दिल की बात. It's simple, and yet it's something we all want. Just those one or two friends that are there for you. Tell me about this song, or maybe maybe even sing it for us if you like.
Oh, well, Dost I wrote very early on. It's from my first EP, and I can't say that I relate to it very, very much anymore.
Okay.
I remember thinking that I want to be very honest in my songwriting back then, when I didn't know what I was going to write about. And now I don't really choose, and the choice is made for me, it seems. But back then I was still experimenting and, consciously writing. And this was one of those songs where I felt like, yeah, this is how I feel, and I want to write something about my friends consciously. And I'm surprised that you like that song. Thank you. I'm appreciating that. And yeah, friends has been a very turbulent topic in my life, and we've talked about this before also, that
Yes,
we've
we
had
have.
difficult experiences with friends.
Yes.
And even now, I'm experiencing the same kind of intensity around friendships, and just how much I love the concept of friends.
Yeah.
Two individuals who have nothing nothing really to offer one another materially, or, in that, I guess, exchange way.
Yeah.
But it's more that, you decide to come together and care for each other. And that's real love.
Yeah, sure.
That's real love.
It is. It is. मुझे एक और गाना बहुत पसंद है which is like the favorite song of yours. Like it's a old one, or I think it's the first one you shared with me. It's Seaview Avenue, and it's this long drive kind of feeling, and उसकी animation भी बहुत मजे की है. गाड़ी इस loop में चल रही है, और I would love to hear that. Honestly, like if you want to play
Okay,
it, I would
sure.
love to hear that,
Sure.
because उसमें एक trancy feel भी है, and it has Karachi, and it has the sea and everything. So if you would like to sing that, I would love to hear it.
Sure, just for you.
Okay.
आधी रात को हम चले घर की चाबी हाथ में लिए चल पड़े उसी सड़क पे जहाँ पे समंदर साफ दिखे बारह बजे वो जो कहे दिल की दीवार पार करे आओ लहरों से बातें करें आधे चांद की आँखों तले पानियों में गोते खाए जिंदगी अब ठहर जाए आओ कल के हम वादे करें
Thank you. I love that. I really, really, really love that. So this Seaview Avenue, when I was doing my master's, so MFA, this girl, I said I want to share this song with you. So I shared this song because वो एक कराची वाली चीज़ और समंदर और वो सब, and she shared this song with me जो उसने मेक्सिको के किसी बीच पे and it was in Spanish, and she shared it with me, and we shared this moment through your music. So it stays on, and it travels, and it goes to various places. So I just wanted to share that memory with you.
Thank you. That feels so good to hear.
This one is really special for me. So I want to stay in the Seaview Avenue moment, but let's move on. So along with being a musician, you're also an artist. I love your art, and you're also a poet, and you're a teacher. How do you manage all of this?
I think I'm different things at different times of the day, not all together. But yes, I am working on incorporating all these parts of me into one whole. I think it's a project of a lifetime, honestly. Because for the longest time, I've been in this struggle of what it means to be an artist. Because oftentimes we put on the persona of an artist, and that stops us from doing all other things. Because for me, what I used to think about being an artist is that you have to have terrible mental health. And you have to be a bum, you can't have a proper job, and this was all unconscious. I wasn't like, I didn't consciously think that, but those were the beliefs that were embedded. And what that was doing was, it was stopping me from living up to my full potential. As an educator, for example, I absolutely adore teaching. I've been teaching since I graduated. I got my first job at a university teaching, which was very lucky now looking back. But I did that and then never stopped. I went from university to university, classroom to classroom. And I really, really enjoyed being with young people, or younger people at the time. And, just learning how to, I don't know, I guess with teaching also, it has been such that it grew to mean more to me than it used to. Early on, it was more of a thrill. I'm so young and all these people are almost my age and they're older than me and I'm their teacher, and it was kind of exciting. But now I feel that this is such a wonderful opportunity to be with all these different parts of me projected onto these students. You don't get that opportunity otherwise. And with and now that I'm working with kids, that is much more pronounced and much stronger. I feel so close to my inner child, my wounded self. So it's been difficult to be in a school setting and not remember my school days and what happened in my school and how I was treated. And that's heavy stuff that's come up. So back to your question, it's a journey. I'm still on it. But I'm determined to do all the things that I love. And I'm not putting pressure on myself to do them all at the same time. Like, for instance, the album, I want to work on it every day, but I don't really get the opportunity or the mental space or the creative spark that you need to, get going. But yeah, I do believe that the other things that I do are also worth my time and effort. And there's a season for each side of me to shine, to be on the front.
Are all these aspects of you, remember in literature days, we used to discuss, MPhil days, we used to discuss the fragmented self, or that these are disconnected parts of us and we play all these different roles. Do you feel these are disconnected parts, or do they come together as Vishal?
That's so interesting. It's a good question. I like it. I really love Jung's psychology. We studied Freud very deeply, but Jung not so much.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've started to see real value in his theory of personality development. And from what I've come to understand and experience in my own journey also, is that human beings, just by virtue of being human, our consciousness is not as solid or as unitary as we would like to believe. We are different people at different times of the day. So, you just woken up is different from you tired in the night, or you at a party is different from you in your bedroom alone. So those are different states of consciousness, and he would define them as different islands that are split off from the mainland. And for him, he talks about this a lot. One of his main concepts is the theory of individuation. He talks about individuation as a coming of, as a wholeness of personality. So a metaphor would be the acorn containing everything that it needs to contain to become an oak tree. Sorry. So the information is all in there. right? But the right conditions are needed and time is needed for it to then grow into an oak tree, and it will be its own individual oak tree. It's not going to be any oak tree, it's going to be that
Right.
particular one.
Right.
So in that way, individuation also is a kind of blossoming of the personality, becoming more unitary. He says those islands are, complexes split off from the mainland. And this is a condition of our times, I feel, perhaps, and a necessary condition, coming about due to civilization, maybe. And, the way he would say it is that first we were merged with nature, when we were hunter gatherers and living in older times where, we were animistic, maybe, and merged with nature. But then we had to develop our consciousness and do all these scientific advancements, and that kind of split us off from nature. So the third step, according to him, would be to then come into relationship with nature, not to regress back into nature, but to have your ego standpoint, your own developed personality, your whole personality, and yeah, develop that not just by being in your room and doing all these artistic creative endeavors, that is part of it, but then to also go in the world and to share them with others.
Right.
He says this individuation process, it cannot be in isolation. It has to be amongst people, because you
Got
are
it. Yeah.
a part of the puzzle. And I've seen this happening, like when you're your most authentic self, you give others permission to be their most authentic selves, not
Sure.
just by being there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned Jung, because I was going to ask you about what ideas are powerful to you. So you've told us some, but I also had a quote by him that I wanted to bring to your attention. So maybe you could like tell us about it. The quote is, "The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong." So
I really like that.
so
I
I'd
really
I'd
like
love to
that
know
one.
how what your take on that is, since
I really love that. I love that so much because it speaks to our fundamental drive towards meaning. And I think this is where Freud and Jung split off, and this is where I split off from Freud as well, where he attributed all of our human drives to sexuality, which is really limiting and doesn't really answer any of our questions about life and, why are we here. I think anybody who has a minute to think has thought of that question. And Jung answers that question. And he doesn't say that, oh, meaning exists all the time. He says something like, yes, like we were talking about that connection with our inner self. I think it's kind of related, because when you are connected to your inner self, your artistic self, your creative partner inside, I think that's when things make sense. And then there is a separation where things don't make sense and everything is, I don't know what I'm doing right now. And I think that's part of the human journey. And I think mystics have pointed this out. And Kierkegaard said something similar, where he said something like, life can only be lived forwards but understood backwards.
yeah.
So I think in that way, it makes a lot of sense, where we don't really, in the everyday, in the mundane, we often forget what the bigger picture is. Right? And we're bound to, because, that's maybe the human experience, perhaps. But then in those moments of solitude, quiet, creative endeavor, that's when you connect back to meaning. And everything makes sense for a minute, even the most chaotic things in your life. And then, yes, the pendulum swings back.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Vishal, as a woman in the field, in the music field, what has your experience been like?
I think in the music scene, women are very welcome. At least that's been my personal experience in the independent music scene. I haven't really tried to, enter the industry as such, because I don't like the way they do things. And I would like to keep my artistic integrity. Thank you. But I mean, who doesn't want people to listen to the stuff that they're creating, experience the stuff that I'm making. I like that. I want that. Um, I would say it's not so much about being a woman as it is about not creating music that is mainstream. Because there are a lot of women. I mean, Spotify does Women of the Month playlists every month. They create equal playlists so that women can be on the forefront and they can share their music. But again, I think it's more about the fact that a lot of people are listening to this, so this must be good.
Yeah.
I think that is the issue that I'm facing. And I think it's a pretty natural issue to face if you're not creating with the intention of, being popular.
And what have your inspirations been in your music, in your life?
Um, the person coming to my mind right now is my analyst. I have been in Jungian analysis for a couple of years now. I think a couple of years, yes. And my analyst is one amazing woman. And I feel that the times that, like, the breaking down that I've experienced, the vulnerability that I've experienced in my healing journey, in my journey coming to myself and reconnecting with, my spirit, that has been really painful and difficult. And it's been an initiation, really. And she's been my guide through all of that. And you can't do this without a guide. You need somebody who's been through the ropes. They can show you the ropes. They've been through it themselves. And, I just love her so much. And she's been amazingly inspiring in my life. Besides her, musically, I think I'm just inspired by the Pakistani music independent scene in any case. Like, Pakistani music is beautiful music. I've experienced it growing up. I've appreciated more and more over the years. हमारा जो band scene है, or just the amount of people who just want to make music, without any care कि भाई अच्छा बन रहा है, बुरा बन रहा है, कोई सुन रहा है या नहीं सुन रहा है. Amazing music बना रहे हैं लोग. For instance, Misbah and Janubi Khargosh, Sikandar Ka Mandir, Zeb and Hania. Like, these are all bands that, they're just making crazy, great music. They're expressing themselves. They're making fantastic stuff. And it's impacted me. When you listen to music, it can solve some crises for you oftentimes.
I would really agree. I think sound for me as well, of all the senses, is the strongest one. And music has often taken me out of so many things, or brought me to so many things, and it's taken me in a different state of mind. So whenever I crash or I am clueless, I go to music and I find answers in it as
Lovely.
well.
I love that.
That was my favorite, Seaview Avenue. Now I'd like to hear one of your favorites. Or yes, I also want to know about Aman Ki Asha. How has the process been? What are you coming up with? What's new? Tell us about it.
Okay, thank you for asking that question. Well, Aman Ki Asha, it's based on the title track. It's the last song of the album. And it's one of those songs that, I spoke about earlier, where, they're so connected to my soul and how I am in this world and who I am in this world and how I experience this world, as a sensitive person. And, like, the whole song is really nostalgic and sweet, and it always makes me cry. And it's all about how I want to see the world. It's all about, like, little details of, it's my imagine. Let's just put it that way. But the whole album, I feel, is a journey towards that point. And I think it connects back to what we were talking about earlier, about individuation and how I see my life unfolding. And I think that album is kind of like a microcosm of everything that I've been through already. Because it begins with a song called Roshni Ka Sheher, and the lyrics go, Roshni ke sheher mein sab diye bujh gaye. And that's the initial feeling, the hopelessness, the darkness, the void, and the feeling of despair. And I think which is a very natural feeling to being a human in this world, if you're honest about it. And that feeling continues and then goes through different transmutations throughout all these different songs. Some are lighthearted, some have a different take on the same feeling. There are questions, there are answers. There is an inward struggle. There is a civil war, honestly, inside yourself. And I think it can apply inward and outward, but I believe more in inward leading to the outward. So I would say it's there. And then the last song is sort of after that whole inward journey, you go out there in the world and you build the world that you want to see.
Right.
Right. And instead of, after experiencing all of that, not discounting any of what you're feeling, being in this world that is cruel and painful, and there is a lot of suffering, but that suffering in the end becomes meaningful. While listening to the album, I feel those feelings.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm excited. When is it going to be released?
Okay, so we're mostly done with the production and the arrangement, how we want the songs to sound. But because we do it all ourselves, it's us doing the production, the recordings, the mixing, the mastering, it's all us. So, it's tough. But we've recorded a lot of it. Some songs are in the mixing stage. It might come out later this year. But a new song is coming out next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a surprise single that we had created a couple of years ago.
Exciting.
And we went with 2 friends up in the mountains, and those friends were also
lovely.
musicians. And we just ended up making this song in a moment of tranquility. And
I love this. I mean, like I know friends hang out, we talk and we discuss lots of things. You hang out with your friends and, new songs come up. I love that.
not always, but yes,
But they
that one time.
That's beautiful. So let's hear one of your favorite songs.
Okay, let's do one from the album that I really love.
Okay.
And one sip of water before we do that. So this one is Dil Ke Darwaze. This comes right before Aman Ki Asha.
Okay.
दिल के दरवाजे वाजे 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 हैं, तेरे इरादे वादे सारे आदे हैं। लेना चाहो अगर तो फूलों के रंग तुम्हारे हैं, पत्थर को पहाड़ चढ़ा के छुए सितारे हैं। रस्ते में मिलेंगे तुम्हें जितने भी जानवर, ना पहचानोगे किसी को, ना देगा कोई आवाज। ये सितारे सैयारे शरारे खला और कहकशां रहेंगे जब तक खुदी है और है जब तक इंसान, और है जब तक इंसान। मरने के बाद क्या होगा सोचा तो होगा कभी, कुछ रहेगा बाकी या वापस बिखरेंगे जर्रे सभी। वक्त के आगाज से लेके जहां वक्त थम जाएगा, देख लो इससे आंख भर के, तुम मौत से डरना नहीं, 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 मौत से डरना नहीं। Thank
I
you.
feel so lucky to be here in this moment, to share this moment, because I mean, lovely rhythm. I loved the tune, but also the experience, which transcends just these words, you know. And being with you, it just feels, we go back a long way, even though we don't meet that often, but somehow we have stayed in touch as well. And this is special somehow. You know,
I really
this
love
moment
it.
is special.
Yeah, it is.
So thank you, Vishal, for being with us. And it was lovely having you and lovely listening to your music. And I'm so excited about Aman Ki Asha, which I bet all of us will be dying to hear. And also the surprise song coming out next week. It's exciting. So thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. If you liked watching this interview, please support my friend by subscribing to her podcast and listening to everything that she comes up with.